Welcome to the bush. I've been looking forward to this one. This location is known as the cliff. I have not spent much time up here. My dad used to camp up here when he was a kid and sleigh ride down the cliff side. You can see the whole property from here. It's way up in the air, and I've got a great idea for a bushcraft shelter. So without further ado, let's get to building. Cut the whole tree down. That's because that way you're not wasting any of the straight pieces. Being generated by the ornaments. Well, step 2 time. I can already see a major problem with this shelter. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed and my head is hitting the roof. I didn't make my roof high enough. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. I'll have to raise the front up. Anyway, it's getting dark. We just went through the time change and it now gets dark at 5 p.m. It's about 5:15. Anyway, it was 70 degrees today. Today is November 6th. And so it was a warm one. It was 70 degrees. And since it was 70 degrees, I thought I'd have a Mexican cerveza. Oh, that one's good. A little limey, a little salt. Nice, refreshing. Worked hard today. I got a lot more done than I thought I would. I didn't know if I'd even have the platform done, to be honest with you. But I got the platform done, and I even got a temporary tarp overhead. Eventually, I'd like to make this maybe a sort of debris shelter. But yeah, things are looking good. Great. Get yourself a blow-up pillow. I got like 2 of these for like $3 a piece, and they still haven't sprung a leak. I've been using them for 2 years, and they're great because they take up, you can wad them up into the palm of your hand, and they take up no room in your bag. Tiffy and I went out to Mexican a couple days ago, and we brought the chips and salsa back with us because they replenished that right before our food came. So they had really good salsa, so we brought that back. And because today was 70 degrees and I had a Mexican cerveza, I'm thinking it's time to cook. But what I'm thinking we should cook is some fajitas. Well, these are ready to pull off the heat, and so we'll just do that without burning ourselves. There we go. Give them a little bit of final stir, let them cool for just a couple minutes, and it's time to make our fajitas, which we got over here, nice and warm by the fire. So we've got a little assembly line here. Well, let's see how this tastes. That don't suck. That won't make a sucky fajita. I'll tell you what, garden fresh peppers. I don't care what it is that you make, you take it out in the woods and make it, bring it back to your fridge, and you might heat it up 2 or 3 days later, and you will taste that campfire, you will smell that smoke as you're eating it, and it will blow away all the other food in your refrigerator. Just every time. I'll take like a whole pack of chicken breasts out, cook them over a fire when I'm camping. That way, for the rest of the week, we got campfire smoked chicken breasts to eat, even if I'm just hanging out at the house. So, cool little camping hack there, you ought to try it. But meanwhile, these fajitas, the fajitas, are pretty good. Well, that was mighty good fajitas, if I don't say so myself. And so after a good meal like that, there's nothing better than a good cigar. I think that's where we're heading next. Nothing like a good cigar after you spent the day building a good shelter. Good comfortable shelter with a nice hot fire, got to have a good meal and everything. You know, there's just fulfilling once you've got this type of a shelter built and you're happy with it. You might add on to it over time, you know, change it up a little bit, but you got a place where you can sit and whittle. You can do little craft projects, little bushcraft projects. You can build little chairs, little benches, little tables. Like, you can literally start just building all the fixtures you'd need for a comfortable living if you just spent a few days. I think it would be fun to just turn me loose in the middle of a forest that has like plenty of good building material, and I'd just start going to town building stuff. I would just you know, I'd start with a comfortable bunk to sleep in with a raising and lower and front end or something, you know, and have a nice wide long fire, and I'd be comfortable at night. And then during the day I could be working on things like, you know, a perimeter around it. I could be working on a bigger reflector, a little gate to let you in, side walls, different things, and then a bunk, a loft or something I could be working on. And then I'd start working around the area, little tables, little things to prepare food on. And so you start, the wheels in your head start going, you start turning, and you start thinking, man, like I could build this little city in the woods, you know, with just bushcraft style, and they'd just be so badass. And so that's what I'm kind of doing. I guess I'm just a big kid, you know. I love to build forts in the woods. That's what it comes down to. But I'm also learning a lot. I mean, there's never a time that I go out in the bush and I don't learn a ton. So, you know, take it for what you will. But if you're just kind of living a mundane life and you're not getting out there and really doing it, then my advice for you is, why not? You know, now is the best time to start. And I can tell you right now, low of 44 degrees tonight. That's not super cold, but it's too cold for a lot of people. Low of 44 degrees tonight, and I am roasty toasty warm. The fire and the smoke are blowing right at me, right into my eyes. Well, good morning. I ate those fajitas and I crawled into this shelter and passed out. Shelter was pretty good. I had to remove a lumpy log underneath me, but no, everything went pretty good. It was a beautiful night, and this is what you get to wake up to. So these coffee pouches came from my last hotel stay, and what they are is they're just little pouches of coffee, like a tea bag, just like that. So all I have to do is heat up some water and drop these in there. It's perfect. So if you go to a hotel and they have something like this, I always kite them. And then I put my cream, just enough creamer for my coffee, fits in a medicine jar, and these seal up nice, so that's great. And then I use liquid stevia squirts to sweeten it, because I like my coffee basically like as sweet and like hot chocolate basically. Coffee time. Last night was one of the better sleeps that I've ever had in the bush, I think, in all honesty. It was just, it was a comfortable shelter. There was one lumpy piece, I knocked it out, but it was great. It was awesome. The temperature got down to like 44, so the fire was nice and warm all night. One little blanket and sleeping bag, and good to go. And this shelter is awesome. The great thing about this is this shelter is a semi-permanent shelter, so I don't have to tear anything down. I'm even leaving the tarps back here. So all I got to do is put my stuff in my bag, and walk back down the cliff. But let's talk about this shelter a little bit. This is a shelter idea I've had for a long time. And the idea was I wanted to take 3 trees that created a sort of equilateral triangle. And I wanted to build a raised platform in between those 3 trees, getting narrower towards your feet. And so that's exactly what I've done here. And what it does is it allows you to sit on the end where you put your head, and you got a good spot to sit in front of the fire and stretch your feet out and warm your toes up. And with the overhang hanging out just a little bit further, if it was raining, you'd have a little porch here where it would still be dry. So that's kind of the idea behind it. I'm going to do some work on this over time. This shelter is going to develop into something probably much bigger and much cooler, but one of the things I'm going to do is raise the roof up so I'm not hitting my head, and then I'm going to build sidewalls on it, and I might use my scrap tin that I have laying around, and I might tin the roof of it if I have enough to make that happen. So we'll just see. I like for my shelters and my campsites to develop organically over time, just ideas that I have on a whim, like, hey, I'm going to add this and I'm going to add that. But I'm definitely going to add sidewalls. There's a ton of moss up here on this mountain, or this hill, and I'm going to use that moss, I think, to chink in between. So lots of good stuff coming up. That's about all I got for today. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks for watching another classic episode of In the Bush.